What do you do after 4 years of playing a single game? Is it still possible to enjoy that game after all that time? Well, I played Genshin Impact for almost 4.5 years, but dropped in favor of Punishing Grey Raven. Don't want to be like all those other videos about Minecraft and Genshin complaining about how bad their game is and how it used to be better. No. I want to dive deeper in how I've changed as a person, and how Genshin has changed as a game to find the issue. And if it can be changed, or if it's just life's course, making me enjoy Genshin Impact less and Punching Grey Raven more. So, TLDR, I played Genshin at first, but stopped to play other games, Punching Grey Raven being one of them, but came back to Genshin and stayed with them until my focus shifted harder into combat, harder in story, and listed exploration that Nataline just did not provide, so I dropped it in favor of Punching Grey Raven. Okay, thanks, bye. That's all this video is going to be about. You can click off now. Wait, you're still here? Well, when I first got into Genshin, it was one of those moments where entrance at the time aligned really well because I liked Breath of the Wild, and Genshin's unique combat system just felt good, especially because I didn't look at any guides, and for the most part, I had to figure things out on my own. My early exploration team being Razor, Barbara, Duke, and Xiangling, which was not a team that functioned, and I struggled to defeat the child boss, and didn't complete it until Inazuma came out, where I got wrecked by the Ryan Shogun boss fight. Not that one, or that one, this one. Very first boss fight, where you only have to get rid of part of her HP before entering cutscene and fleeing. It was my attempts at this boss that made me discover the world of Genshin Impact YouTube and guides for that, and I decided to build 3 new ranged characters to use them with Barbara to try to hit that cutscene range. It still ended up me having to solo the boss with Barbara though. It was after this time that I decided to look for guides to attempt to make a proper team comp with Razor, Bennett, Sucrose, and Rosario. The idea being I could swirl Sucrose burst with Cryo to extend the Cryo uptime for superconduct for Razor to bash enemies with his stand. Did this work? No. Yeah, the gimmick didn't work most of the time, and the damage was non-existent. But it was an attempt. It was around the first anniversary that I got my first limited 5-star, being Kokomi, from the Vent banner, because I wished on standard banner until then. Later on, I did get several other DP. Got a sword team of Zhao, Sucrose, Ben, and Zhongli for one side, and Yaka, Rosaria, Kokomi, and Kazuha for the other side. Before I get into Sumeru, I want to briefly cover my initial experience with Punching Raven. Couldn't tell you exactly when I started, but I got into the game because I saw the Luna trailer. Anyways, I started the game. I like Lucia. I simp hard. I quit after chapter 5 of the story. Back to Genshin. Going into Sumeru, started min-maxing the hell out of Genshin Impact. Being able to 36 star the Abyss due to Dendro being broken, I managed to consistently clear throughout all of Sumeru. And I was even at the point where I could start crowning characters, like Kale, Kokomi, and Zhao, and started to level up all my characters to 70 out of 80 to maximize the standard wishes. Story was meh, but remember, I got into Genshin Impact because of the combat and exploration, not the story. And I was still enjoying the combat at the time, and I'd completed all the main side quests at the time, like the Desert side quest and the Arnor side quest. God knows I need therapy after that one. And I got all the teleport waypoints available in Sumeru. My streak of 36 starring the Abyss continued into Fontaine, because I managed to build my Hu Tao and a New Villette, which, yeah, New Villette's kind of busted. I think Hoyo adding a couple extra zeros in response to the endgame being too easy might have been the first domino to fall in me losing interest in the combat system. Luckily, the story was good enough to the point where I was still invested into Genshin Impact. Fontaine was good enough at the point where if Fontaine released as its standalone game, I'll still buy the game and its potential DLC. And that's the best testament of the time to how my preferences were at the time. Although I did start to like the exploration less and less, especially with the Sea Bygone eras. But I still managed to get all the teleport waypoints, but found it a hassle to do so. And my preferences were starting to shift away from exploration. Quickly going over the Imaginarium Theater, my take is that I liked it at first, but wore off once I got tired of not being able to being forced to equip 4 characters in a round, getting RNG screwed, and annoying bosses being placed on a time limit in the later chambers. Going into Natlan, this is going to be the turning point of the video as it was for Genshin, and I'll admit, Natlan started off really well for me. I like the scenery, enjoyed characters, and I liked the story for the most part. I ignored most of the drama at the time since I knew nothing would come of it. But there were some cracks starting to appear, though. The first one being the increase in difficulty in 36 starting the Abyss, with mainly due to HP increases, and the Night Soul Shield, increasing the level of the DPS check artificially and increasing difficulty that way. The second crack being Malvika's fight with Capitano, the main problem being the outcome and just how it was handled in such a way that it brought down the power level of all the Fatui Harbingers, since previously in the Sumeru Archon quest, the top 3 Harbingers are considered to be more powerful than Archons. Yet here is the number 1 Fatui Harbinger losing to an Archon. The reason why I care about Natlan's story quest right now is because Fontaine raised the bar, and before Fontaine was only 1/2 in for the combat, and only 1/4 in for the story and exploration, but after Fontaine raised the bar for the combat and story, and it's not the exploration at all. Genshin just couldn't deliver on my desires. More cracks in the story appeared over time, and when it was finished, my main gripe of the story was how disconnected the nation feels from the story. I was left unsatisfied. I feel like I could make a whole new video about if I was in charge of Natlan's story, how I would do things, but only if this gets enough attention, and I don't think it will. It was around this time that I became aware of the Kuro game as a whole, and how Punching a Raven existed and how I played it before in my early experience, and decided to hop back into it after the announcement of the Devil May Cry collab. I logged back on at the tail end of the Watabe Epitaph's patch, and I'm currently writing the script as Lucius Pyroth, and enjoyed all the benefits of being a new player, plus a returning player, plus the patch cramming that Kuro game is doing right now. Even after I got my teams built, the game still managed to pose a challenge to me other than just lacking the prerequisite DPS checks. Punching Raven has city strongholds where it can take 3 teams into 3 combat segments, but there's no time limits, and you can kill the enemies real quickly. But the thing is that the enemies can also kill you quickly, so it's just a matter of skill. But enough with glazing, what did I learn from this? I learned that challenging combat isn't just due to massive HP pools, and after Fontaine released, increased my desire for good storytelling, and killed my desire for exploration that Natlan did not provide for me at all. If Genshin were to have you back, several improvements would need to be changed, namely the lack of multi-challenge and option for the mains, removing Night Soul Shields altogether, the gacha system. But even if these improvements are added, I don't think they would compel me to spend money in the game or even go back to playing daily.